Marriage is supposed to be a partnership, a balance of give and take. At least, that's what I believed when I planned the surprise weekend getaway for Vanessa and me. I had spent weeks researching the perfect destination, scrolling through endless reviews, making sure the resort had everything she loved: spa treatments, infinity pools, gourmet dining, and breathtaking views of the countryside. It was the kind of place where couples rekindled their spark, and I wanted nothing more than to see that glow in her eyes again. We hadn't been in the best place lately. Work, responsibilities, and the dull routine of everyday life had drained the excitement from our marriage. I missed the Vanessa I fell in love with, the woman who used to laugh at my stupid jokes and curl up next to me without a phone in her hand. I figured a weekend away from everything would remind us why we started this journey together. So, I booked the trip: a private villa, candlelit dinners, a couple's massage package. Everything was set. When I walked into the living room that evening, Vanessa was lounging on the couch, her nails tapping away at her phone. She barely looked up when I sat beside her. "I've got a surprise for you," I said, grinning. She finally glanced at me, her expression skeptical. "Oh." I pulled up the reservation confirmation on my phone and handed it to her. A weekend at Whispering Pines Resort. Just us. No distractions. Just peace, luxury, and— Her gasp interrupted me, and for a brief moment, I saw excitement flicker in her eyes. But just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. She sat up straighter, scrolling through the details, and then her lips twisted into a small frown. "Oh my God," she said. "I was literally just telling the girls about this place." I blinked. "You were?" "Yes. Lisa, Monica, and Jenna have been dying to go somewhere like this. It's crazy that you picked the same resort." A strange feeling settled in my chest, but I ignored it. "Well, that's great, but this is for us, babe. Just you and me." She pouted playfully, leaning against me. "Ethan, come on. It'll be so much fun if they come too. I mean, think about it. Group dinners, poolside cocktails, and girl time for me while you can chill with the guys." I hesitated. This wasn't what I envisioned. I wanted intimacy, quiet moments, just the two of us reconnecting. But Vanessa looked genuinely excited for the first time in a long time. Maybe I was being selfish. "They'd love it," she pressed, sensing my hesitation. "It's not like we'd be with them the whole time. We can still have our alone time." I exhaled slowly. "All right. If it makes you happy, invite them." Her face lit up, and she kissed my cheek. "You're the best. I'll text them right now." As she grabbed her phone and started typing away, I tried to push down the nagging feeling in my gut. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe this trip could still be about us, just with a few extra people tagging along. But I had no idea just how much this one decision would cost me. 2 days before the trip, I was sitting in my home office, tying up loose ends at work so I could fully unplug for the weekend. I was looking forward to it, maybe not in the way I had initially planned, but I had convinced myself it would still be a great trip. Vanessa had been excited ever since I agreed to let her friends come along, and a part of me believed that seeing her happy would make the trip worthwhile. I was just about to shut my laptop when I heard her voice from the doorway. "Hey, babe." I turned, smiling. "Hey, what's up?" She walked in casually, leaning against my desk, twirling a strand of hair around her finger. I knew that look. It was the same look she gave me when she wanted something. "So, I was talking to the girls, and they mentioned how their guys felt kinda left out." I raised an eyebrow. "Left out?" "Yeah," she sighed dramatically. "I mean, Lisa, Monica, and Jenna were all so excited, and of course, their men got curious. They were like, 'Why can't we come too?' And honestly, babe, I didn't have a good reason to tell them no." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. "So, you invited them?" I asked carefully. She flashed me an innocent smile. "I mean, yeah, but only because it makes sense, right? The girls will have their guys, and you won't feel like the odd one out." I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my temples. "Vanessa, that's 6 extra people." She waved a hand dismissively. So what? The resort has plenty of space. It's not a big deal. I exhaled, trying to keep my frustration in check. Who's paying for them? Silence. She looked at me as if the answer was obvious. You, of course. I laughed. Not a real laugh. One of those disbelieving, did you really just say, that kind of laughs. Vanessa, do you realize how much this is already costing? I booked us a luxury villa, got the best package, and now you want me to cover 6 more people? That's thousands of extra dollars. She folded her arms. Come on, Ethan. You make good money. It's not like you can't afford it. That's not the point, I said, my voice tightening. This was supposed to be our trip. Then it became a girls' trip. Now it's a full-blown group vacation, on my dime. She rolled her eyes. Why are you making this such a big deal? You always act like money is some huge issue. You know I don't like it when you get stingy. Stingy? That word hit me like a slap. I had never been stingy with Vanessa. If anything, I had been too generous, spoiling her with expensive gifts, fancy dinners, and spontaneous getaways. And yet, here she was, acting like I was the bad guy for not wanting to fund an entire trip for people who never even asked me personally. But then I made the mistake I always made with her. I caved. I sighed, rubbing my forehead. Fine, I'll pay. Her face instantly brightened. Really? Oh my God, babe, thank you. You're the best. She kissed me quickly before grabbing her phone. I'll let everyone know. As she walked out of the room, excitedly texting, I sat there staring at my desk. Something didn't feel right. I wanted to believe this was just about having fun, about her wanting a good time with her friends. But a part of me wondered, was I just the guy footing the bill? Shaking off the uneasy feeling, I told myself to let it go. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe this would still be a trip to remember. I had no idea how right I was. Just not in the way I expected. The morning of the trip, I woke up feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Genuine excitement. Despite the unexpected changes, despite Vanessa turning what was meant to be a romantic getaway into a group vacation, I was still holding on to the hope that this weekend would be good for us. That maybe, just maybe, this trip would remind her of what we had before things started to feel transactional. I stretched, letting out a deep breath as I reached for my phone on the nightstand. No missed calls, no texts. Odd. Vanessa was always up before me, usually bombarding me with last-minute questions about outfits or itinerary details. But this morning, silence. Shrugging it off, I got out of bed, heading to the bathroom to freshen up. The plan was simple: get ready, grab our bags, and head to the airport together. I had imagined us sipping coffee on the flight, holding hands as we arrived at the resort, settling into the luxurious villa I had carefully chosen for us. Then, just as I was about to step into the shower, my phone rang. Vanessa. A small smile tugged at my lips as I answered. Morning, babe. You up? There was a brief pause before she spoke. Yeah, hey. So we just got to the resort. I froze. The words hit like a slap to the face. I pulled the phone away from my ear, staring at the screen as if I had misheard. Slowly, I brought it back. Wait, what? We're here, she repeated, like it was nothing. At the resort. The girls and I flew in last night, and the guys came early this morning. We're checking in now, but they need the reservation details. I couldn't breathe. My grip on the phone tightened. Vanessa, I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. What do you mean you're there? We were supposed to go together. A sharp sigh came from the other end, the kind she gave when she was about to dismiss me. Ethan, don't make this a big deal. A big deal? I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. You left without me. You didn't even tell me. Well, she hesitated, then let out a small laugh, as if what she was about to say was completely reasonable. Honestly, babe, you would have ruined the vacation. Everything inside me went still. I felt the air leave my lungs, my chest tightening as the weight of her words settled in. What? This place is for cute couples, she said casually. I mean, think about it, Ethan. It would have been so awkward if you were here. You're always so serious, and you wouldn't have fit the vibe. We're all just trying to have fun. I was gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. My mind scrambled for a rational explanation, a way to make sense of what she had just said. But there was none. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to speak. So let me get this straight, I said slowly, my voice eerily calm. I paid for this trip. I booked the resort. I covered your friends and their boyfriends. And you didn't even think I deserved to come? Another pause. Then, in the most casual, infuriating tone, she said, Ethan, don't be dramatic. Dramatic? I felt something inside me snap. Not in anger, not in rage, but in realization. A cold, clear understanding that I had been nothing more than a wallet to her. And I was done. I took a slow breath, steadying myself. You need the reservation details? I asked. Yeah, she said, her tone softer, like she could tell I was upset but didn't think it was worth real concern. Just send them over so we can check in. I smiled. A real, genuine smile, but not the kind Vanessa would have wanted. Sure, I said. Give me a minute. I hung up. Then, without hesitation, I opened the resort's website and canceled everything. The villa, the spa packages, the candlelit dinners, the flights home. I called the airline next. Hi, I need to cancel a set of return tickets. Yes, all of them. The representative confirmed the cancellations, and I moved on to the next task. I logged into our shared banking apps and credit cards, revoked her access, and froze the card she had been using under my name. Vanessa wanted a vacation with her cute couples. She could figure out how to pay for it. 30 minutes passed before my phone rang again. Vanessa. I let it ring twice before answering. What? Her voice was different this time. Panicked. Ethan, what happened? The resort is saying the reservation was canceled. I leaned back against the bed frame, feeling lighter than I had in years. Yeah, I canceled it. She let out a shaky laugh, like she thought I was joking. Okay, very funny. But seriously, we need the details so we can check in. I didn't bother keeping the amusement out of my voice. Vanessa, I don't think you understand. I canceled everything. The villa, the spa, the flights. All of it. Dead silence. Then, in a much sharper tone, she snapped, Ethan, stop playing. I chuckled. I'm not playing. You wanted a trip with your cute couples, right? So pay for it. With them. Her breath hitched. Ethan, what the hell? You can't do this. We're already here. And whose fault is that? I asked coolly. You're being ridiculous, she shrieked. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Everyone's looking at me like I'm some kind of idiot. I promised them a luxury weekend, and now we have nowhere to stay. I pretended to think. Huh. Sounds like a you problem. Ethan, please, she begged, her voice breaking now. I messed up, okay? But don't do this. We're stranded. I sighed dramatically. Vanessa, don't be dramatic. And then, before she could say another word, I ended the call. I stared at my phone for a moment, half expecting her to call back. But I already knew I was done. Done being a fool. Done being used. Done being the man who always caved. Vanessa had made her choice. And now, for the first time in a long time, I was making mine. I imagined the exact moment when Vanessa and her friends arrived at the check-in desk, smiling, laughing, expecting a smooth entry into their luxurious weekend getaway. I pictured Vanessa confidently giving the receptionist my name, waiting for the confirmation. And then, confusion. The receptionist typing, frowning, checking the system again. The silence stretching too long. The sudden shift in tone as they explained the reservations had been canceled. I could practically see Vanessa's face twisting from mild confusion to outright panic. And then came the real fun. The moment they realized they had no backup plan. My phone started buzzing before I even had a chance to finish my morning coffee. I smirked as I saw Vanessa's name flash on the screen. Ignored. It rang again, and again. Then a text. Then another. Finally, A voicemail. I let it sit there while I poured another cup of coffee, enjoying the unusual peace of a Saturday morning where, for once, I wasn't bending over backward to fix something for her. By the time I finally decided to listen, the desperation in her voice was already seeping through. Ethan, what the hell is going on? The hotel is saying the reservations were canceled. Our flights were canceled. Tell me this is some kind of mistake. Call me back. Now. I chuckled under my breath, then deleted the voicemail. Another text came in, then another. Finally, a call from Rachel. Interesting. Rachel had never liked me much, mostly because I had this annoying habit of seeing through her manipulative games. She was one of Vanessa's closest friends, but also one of the worst influences. Always pushing Vanessa to test boundaries, to demand more, to never settle, even when she already had everything. So, the fact that Rachel was calling, that meant Vanessa was really panicking. I let the phone ring. Then another call, this time from Sabrina, then Mark. They were all taking turns. By now, I could imagine it perfectly. Vanessa and her friends, stranded in the middle of the countryside, stuck in the lobby of a resort they couldn't afford. I leaned back in my chair, stretching. Let them sweat. Meanwhile, back at the resort, Vanessa was unraveling. What do you mean the reservation is canceled? She demanded, voice too sharp, too loud. Check again. My husband paid for everything. The poor receptionist maintained her polite but firm smile. I understand your frustration, ma'am, but I've checked twice. The reservations were all canceled this morning. There's nothing under your name or his. Vanessa's pulse pounded. This doesn't make any sense. Kelsey huffed, flipping her hair. Okay, well, we'll just book new rooms. No big deal. The receptionist gave them a sympathetic look. Certainly. We do have availability. The rates are, she named the price. Rachel choked on her own breath. You have got to be kidding me. Sabrina glanced at Vanessa. Well, you're paying, right? Vanessa's fingers trembled as she opened her banking app. Declined. The cards tied to our joint accounts? Deactivated. Her personal account? Nowhere near enough. She felt the ground tilt beneath her. She hadn't thought about money. She never did. Ethan always handled it. Ethan always made sure everything was covered. And now? Ethan was gone. She swallowed hard and looked at the others. Guys, I need you to cover this, just for now, she said, forcing a laugh to mask the sheer terror rising in her throat. I'll pay you back the second we get home. Silence. Mark frowned. Wait, you don't have the money for this? She hesitated. That was all they needed. Sabrina groaned. Oh my God. Vanessa. Rachel stepped forward. Tell me you at least have money for your own room. Again, hesitation. The reality settled over the group like a thick fog. Vanessa had nothing. And Ethan? He had planned this. He had cut her off completely. She pressed the phone against her ear, calling him again. Voicemail. Her breathing turned shallow. Again. Voicemail. She turned to Rachel, gripping her wrist. Call him. Maybe he'll answer for you. Rachel scoffed but tried. Straight to voicemail. Vanessa's chest tightened. He was ignoring them all. The fear she had been pushing down turned into full-blown panic. We can't just stand here, Kelsey muttered. We need to figure something out. Sabrina crossed her arms. The only thing to figure out is who's paying for this. Everyone glanced at each other, waiting. No one moved. No one reached for their wallets. No one volunteered. Vanessa wanted to scream. My phone buzzed again. Vanessa. I smirked and finally answered. Ethan. Oh my God, she gasped, her voice on the edge of hysteria. What the hell is wrong with you? I took a slow sip of my coffee. Excuse me? The hotel is saying our reservation is canceled. The flights, everything. Tell me you didn't actually do this. I did. Her breath hitched. You canceled everything? Yep. Why? I almost laughed at how genuinely shocked she sounded. You know why, I said simply. She made a strangled sound. a mix of frustration and panic. Ethan, you can't do this. We're stranded. I sighed, feigning sympathy. Oh, no. That sounds awful. Ethan, she hissed, be serious. I am. She was breathing heavily now. What am I supposed to do? I leaned forward. Figure it out. Like a cute couple would. Silence. Then, softly, Ethan, please. The desperation in her voice was almost satisfying. Almost, but not enough to make me care. I exhaled. Vanessa, you made it clear I wasn't needed on this trip. You and your friends were happy to go without me. So, enjoy your trip, just not on my dime. Her voice cracked. I messed up, okay? I hung up. And this time, when she called back, I blocked the number. Then I turned off my phone. I sat back, savoring the silence. For the first time in years, I finally felt free. My phone had been ringing nonstop for the past hour. Vanessa. Again. I sat in my office, the city skyline stretching beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, my mind clear, my chest light, the weight I had been carrying for so long gone. I leaned back in my chair, watching her name flash across the screen. I had ignored the first dozen calls, letting them roll to voicemail, but something in me, maybe a lingering shred of curiosity, made me press accept this time. The second the call connected, I was met with frantic breathing. Ethan. Her voice was high-pitched, on the edge of panic. What happened? The resort said the reservation was canceled. The flights, everything. What did you do? I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch just long enough for her to feel it, to squirm. Hello? Ethan? Then, in the coldest tone I could muster, I said, pay with your cute couples. Silence. I could hear her breathing on the other end, shaky, uneven. It was the first time she had fully processed what had happened, that I was done. Ethan. Her voice was different now, softer. Please tell me you're joking. I wasn't. You left without me, I said, my voice level. You told me I'd ruin the vacation. So, go ahead. Enjoy your trip. I'm sure all those cute couples will figure something out. She sucked in a sharp breath, and when she spoke again, there was an edge of desperation. I didn't mean it like that, she stammered. I wasn't thinking. It was stupid. Please, Ethan, let's fix this. I almost laughed. Fix this? She wasn't sorry for what she had done. She was sorry she got caught. Sorry her perfect little getaway had fallen apart. You made your choice, I said simply. Now live with it. I hung up. Seconds later, the phone rang again. I turned it off. By the time Vanessa made it home that evening, she had called me at least 100 times. I was in the kitchen, pouring myself a glass of whiskey when I heard the front door fly open. Ethan! She cried out. Ethan, please! She stopped short the moment she stepped inside. She looked around, eyes darting across the living room, at the neatly packed boxes by the door. Her face paled. What is this? I took a sip of my drink before answering. Your things. Her hands trembled. You're kicking me out? I'm giving you a head start. Tears welled in her eyes as she rushed towards me. No, Ethan, please. We can fix this. She tried to grab my hands, but I stepped back. You don't get to do this, I said, my voice even. Not after everything. She shook her head violently. I was stupid, selfish, but please, don't throw everything away over one mistake. I scoffed. One mistake? This wasn't one mistake. This was years of being used. I set my glass down, then reached for the envelope on the counter. Vanessa's breath hitched as I handed it to her. She opened it with trembling hands. Her eyes scanned the document inside, then widened in horror. Divorce papers. She stumbled back. No, Ethan, please. I exhaled, looking at her one last time. The woman I once loved, now a stranger in my home. I'm done, Vanessa. She broke down, sobbing. But for the first time in my life, I felt nothing. The silence was refreshing. For the first time in years, I wasn't dealing with Vanessa's constant demands, last-minute requests, or emotional blackmail. I woke up when I wanted, ate what I wanted, and spent my money on myself without worrying about someone treating me like a bottomless bank account. I wasn't just free, I was alive. Vanessa, on the other hand, was drowning. It started with texts, then calls, then voicemails. At first, they were angry. "You had no right to do that, Ethan. How could you embarrass me like that? You're being petty. We could have talked about this. Wow. I hope you realize what you just threw away. Good luck finding another woman who'll love you like I did." I ignored every single one. Then the tone shifted. "Ethan, please. I messed up. I see that now. Just talk to me. Baby, you know I love you. I wasn't thinking. It was a mistake. I miss you. Can we please meet? Just talk?" Pathetic. I'd seen Vanessa manipulate situations before, always twisting things in her favor. But this time, she had no power. I had stripped it away the moment I cut her off, and she wasn't handling it well. She showed up at my office one afternoon, uninvited. I was walking out for lunch when I saw her, standing there in a fitted dress, hair perfect, makeup done just right. She knew how to play the game. Make herself look irresistible, act vulnerable, remind me of what I once thought I wanted. I barely slowed my pace. "Ethan." She reached out to grab my arm. "Please, can we talk?" I pulled away. "I have nothing to say to you." She flinched. I don't want to lose you like this." "You lost me the moment you decided I wasn't cute couple material," I said coldly. Her lip trembled. "I didn't mean that," I scoffed. "You meant every word. You just regret it now because you lost your walking wallet." Her face crumbled. "That's not true." "It is." I didn't wait for her response. I walked past her, letting her stand there in the mess she created. That was the last time I saw her in person. Word spread quickly among her friends, and they weren't happy. Rachel, Kelsey, Sabrina? The moment they realized Vanessa wasn't getting back in my good graces, meaning there was no refund, no compensation for their lost vacation, no way to fix the humiliation they suffered at the resort, they turned on her. The group chats dried up. Calls went unanswered. She was left out of brunch plans, weekend getaways, and shopping sprees. Vanessa had built her entire identity around being the queen bee, the woman who had everything. The rich, doting husband, the luxury vacations, the envy of her friends. Now, she had nothing. The final blow came when Mark, Rachel's boyfriend, bluntly told her, "You really thought you could humiliate your own husband like that and come out on top? You played yourself, Vanessa." She had no comeback. And just like that, the friendships she once prioritized over me, they were gone. While Vanessa was spiraling, I was thriving. For years, I had been pouring all my time, energy, and money into keeping someone else happy. Now, I was investing in myself. I hit the gym harder than ever, channeling all my frustration into weights and cardio. My body transformed, stronger, leaner, more confident. At work, I doubled down on projects, finally taking on leadership opportunities one had previously ignored because Vanessa always had some crisis demanding my attention. Within months, I landed a promotion. I traveled on my terms. Instead of luxury resorts filled with shallow people, I took solo trips, went on hiking expeditions, and actually enjoyed the experiences without worrying about Instagram-perfect moments. And the best part? I was finally happy. It was at a networking event when I met her. Sophie. She wasn't flashy. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was just herself. She had this effortless elegance, the kind that didn't scream for attention but commanded it anyway. When we started talking, there was no pretense, no expectations. She wasn't interested in what I could buy her. She was interested in me. We talked about travel, books, ambitions. She listened, actually listened, not just waiting for her turn to speak. It was refreshing. I asked her out that night. She said yes. One evening, months later, As I was getting ready for a dinner date with Sophie, my phone buzzed. Vanessa. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. The message was short. I see you're doing well. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I miss you. If there's ever a chance to fix this, please let me know. I stared at it for a long moment. Then, without a second thought, blocked. I slipped my phone into my pocket, grabbed my jacket, and stepped out, leaving Vanessa in the past where she belonged. It was a crisp morning when Vanessa showed up at my doorstep. I wasn't surprised. After months of silence, no more ignored calls, no more unread messages, I had expected her to try one last desperate move. But seeing her in front of me, makeup slightly smudged, eyes pleading, it did nothing to me. There was a time when I would have felt guilty, would have softened at the sight of her looking vulnerable. That time was long gone. Can we talk? She asked, her voice quieter than usual. I didn't invite her inside. Talk. She hesitated. Ethan, she swallowed hard, trying to gather her words. I've had a lot of time to think about everything, and I know I messed up. I said nothing. She took it as an invitation to continue. I was selfish, she admitted, taking a shaky breath. I didn't appreciate you the way I should have. I let other people's opinions matter more than our marriage. But I see it now, and her voice cracked. I miss you. I exhaled slowly. Then I reached behind me, into the small table by the door, and pulled out the envelope I had been saving for this moment. Her face fell the second she saw it. I held it out to her. Divorce papers. She didn't take them. Ethan, this isn't revenge, Vanessa, I said calmly. This is closure. Tears welled in her eyes, and she shook her head. It doesn't have to end like this. We can fix it. I can fix it. You can't. I placed the envelope firmly in her hands. Because I was never the problem. She choked back a sob. Ethan, please. I stepped back inside, closing the door on her for good. 2 weeks later, I was lying on a private beach in the Maldives, free. Sophie lay beside me, the sun painting her skin gold as she laughed at something on her phone. No drama, no manipulation, just peace. I took a deep breath, letting the salty breeze wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I had chosen myself, and it felt damn good. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gripping tales. What would you have done in Ethan's shoes? Let me know in the comments. Share this with a friend who loves a good plot twist, and stay tuned for more unforgettable stories.